Okay guys, welcome to another Friday Waffle. As you can see, I'm joined with a couch buddy. This is Jax. He is a cross between a... What's he cross between? What are you cross between, Jax? You're cross between a Jack Russell and a Westie, apparently. Though he looks nothing like any of them. Anyway, I'm absolutely relieved it's the weekend. I've had another busy week at work, so yeah, delighted it's the weekend. I don't have any plans, nothing at all. Go out for a run on Sunday. So anyway, yeah, just a quick recap, or not a recap, a recap's when you go over something you've already talked about. A quick summary of my West Highland Way race. If you watched my Friday Waffle last week, I mentioned I was doing the West Highland Way race, which is it's 96 miles, starting in a place called Mulgai in Glasgow, and it finishes in Fort William. It's 96 miles, and it's along the West Highland Way, which is an ancient sort of track. To call it track's probably been a bit generous. I mean, it's a designated path type track. You follow signs all the way up to Fort William. I mean, there's some bits of it are just insane. You're going along the loch side, and there's literally the water is right there. So one slip and you're a goner. So yeah, I've not done the West Highland Way race for 3 years. I tried it. I've done it twice before, 2013, 2014, and in 2015 I pulled out after 27 miles. So that was a bit of a shit thing, and I always wanted to go back and do it properly. So started at 1 o'clock last Saturday, 1 AM Saturday morning. 213 people started it. I was running with my mate Tommy. Now sadly Tommy had to retire from the race. In fact, he had to retire at the same part as I retired 2 years ago. 27 miles in, he had problems with his hip. So I managed to keep going. It meant that I had 7 people technically crewing for me who are support. You basically get to a checkpoint and they feed you, they fill your water bottles, and then you get away. You don't really stop at all. So I basically ran the race on my own. I mean, you're meeting obviously fellow runners along the way and you talk to them for a while, but you've really, because it's such a long way, you've just got to do your own, thing. You can't afford to sort of like slow up if somebody else is going slow, so you do your own thing. But the first 53 miles weren't too bad, but then once I got north of Tyndrum, heading towards a place called Bridge of Orchy, the weather forecast was to be torrential rain and high winds, and my goodness, it did not let me down. The weather got progressively worse and worse and worse. And when I got to Glencoe about 10 o'clock on Saturday evening, climbing up, there's about a 5 mile run to the foot of the Devil's Staircase, and you've got this steep climb. And the weather for the last, what would it be, I don't know, 25 miles was absolutely horrendous. It was literally like winter. I mean, I was shivering with the cold. It's the excuse me, it's the hardest conditions I've ever ran in. But I was absolutely determined to keep going, and I managed to finish it. I finished in 32 hours and 41 minutes, I think it was. So I did that, and what you get, I'm trying to see what one it is. Is it this one? Doesn't really matter. Anyway, you get this. That's 2014. Let's see. This one looks quite new. Yeah, there we go. 2017. It's a lovely crystal goblet, and it's got the West Highland Way race in it. So yeah, absolutely delighted to finish it. Really chuffed. Finished about 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So I've been running for 32 hours, which is quite a long time. So anyway, yeah, that was that. This week I've been just tired. I've not done that many videos. I mean, I've had a couple of videos that I'd kind of had saved up, which I put out, but I've not had much a chance. Just the work's been really busy, and I've just been pretty tired actually. So yeah, I'm looking about, I don't know why I'm looking about here. So anyway, listen, excuse me, I don't have any mod stuff to talk about, but I have got a nice fat feast of plenty questions. But before I start, I'm going to have a wee drink of my water. You see, not all of Scotch drink Iron Brew. This is full fat Nestle Pure Life water, full spring water. No bother putting the lid in it. You can stay over there. Right, so anyway, I'm just going to batter straight into the questions. Kicking things off, Ian Hunter, thank you Ian. I was wondering, what is your preferred storage medium when using 8-bit micros? Cassette, cartridge or floppy? I realise that the magnetic data on cassettes and floppy disks from the 80s has gone bad by now, but fortunately both my C64 and VIC-20 will still load most of their software. It's a bit of a shite question, Alan, but I'd be interested in your response, bearing in mind the nostalgia factor. Cheers, buddy. Well, I'll be absolutely honest with you, Ian. I wouldn't be anything else anyway. For my Commodore 64, I've got it's called an Ultimate 2 cartridge, and it's the best bit of hardware I've ever owned. It allows you to load tape images, it allows you to load cartridges, discs, every type of sort of file type. I will on occasion load a tape and sit through the 5-10 minutes of music just to get the full experience. But I don't actually own many games on tape anymore, because the only games I own on tape now on the Commodore 64 were games that I rebought because the nostalgia factor for the covers. I don't actually. I mean, I've got two C2Ns cassette things up in the loft, but I don't use proper tapes anymore. But like I said, I do load tape images, and I'll sit through the Ocean Loader, whatever it is, and just enjoy the experience. I always find that if I load a game from tape, I'll play it longer. I mean, I could easily load it within a few seconds using a disc image, but you know, some games I'll actually sit through, and it's just enjoy the whole kind of loading thing. It's the same for other 8-bits that I've got. I've got a Spectrum, it's got an SD card, so it's instant loading. I don't have an Amstrad, but I do have the GX4000, and again, I've got one of these little cartridge type things, homebrew things, and it's got tons and tons of games, so it's instant loading. The Atari 8-bit, I've got a cartridge, and I've also got a floppy drive emulator, and the BBC, I've got a CF card, which again stores all the games, so you basically switch it on and just pick what you want. So as much as I love the nostalgia side of things, because I lack space, I prefer having the sort of modern loading things, because it's far more reliable. You never get a tape at loading error, and obviously the lack of space, you know, they don't take up any space at all. So yeah, that's what I do. I do have a VIC-20, but I don't have any way. I think it uses the C2N, but I don't have any actual games for it at all. I stupidly thought I could use the Ultimate 2 cartridge with it, not realising that the VIC-20 doesn't actually have a cartridge port, so that kind of knocked that in the head. But anyway, great question, thanks Ian. Right, Kev, down the rabbit hole. Hi Alan, apparently Atari might be making a console, not just one of those plug and play things with built-in games, but a proper real console to play new titles. Do you think Atari are nuts to try and enter the gaming landscape today? I never knew that, Kev. Now when you say Atari, who are we talking about? I mean, as anybody that's, you know, any old head will know that, I mean, Atari at one point used to epitomise video games, to the point that people would say, yeah, he's playing Atari, even though it might have been a ColecoVision, it might have been an Intellivision. You know, it was like PlayStation. PlayStation is what a lot of people who don't know anything about games refer to for somebody who plays video games. Oh, he plays the PlayStation. But Atari, obviously the company, went defunct a long time ago, sadly. and the name was bought over. I don't even know who owns it now. I mean, from what I gather, it's just a bunch of lawyers that own the Atari sort of logo. So when you're saying Atari are making it, I'm not quite sure who it's going to be. As far as they're going to be making a new console, well, when you think about it, if somebody had told you, I don't know, 20 years ago that you would be playing, 20 years ago when it was Sega and Nintendo, if somebody told you 20 years ago that Microsoft would have a console, well, you technically might have bought into that because Microsoft obviously make Windows, so technically that's believable. But if somebody said to you that Sony, these people that make hi-fis, were going to make a console, you'd probably think they were nuts. So to hear that Atari could possibly come back with a new console, it's not unbelievable. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, as with any gamer, any competition, the more machines that are out there, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Never heard anything about it. Just before I move on to question number 2, Kevin, I can't even remember the name of it. One of my friends posted a link to a project now. Apparently it's not Kickstarter, it's actually getting privately funded. And what I'll try and do is I'll try and put the link to it in the video below, or in the sort of description below. It's basically, it looks like you buy the device and then you buy like the Mega Drive adapter, and it's basically, it sits on top, and at the front you've got the Mega Drive ports. You can then buy the SNES adapter, which clips on the top of the Mega Drive one. You can buy the NES, you can buy the, I don't know if it does computers. Basically you can just build up this all-in-one console with individual sections. I mean, it looks gorgeous, it really does, and apparently you can rip your games onto sort of like a hard drive, medium type thing. I can't remember the name of it, I've never even heard of it. It does look interesting. Is there a market for it? I'm quite sure. It looks like quite a high-end thing that probably people with way too much money that probably have never played a video game since Sonic the Hedgehog back in 1992, they'll probably buy it. But check the link below, see what you think. It does look quite interesting. But as far as Atari bringing out a new console, I'd be interested to know, who is Atari, what is Atari now? I mean, there's nobody from the original days in Atari that are going to be there now, but interesting to see. And at the end of the day, are they nuts? Possibly, depends. I mean, if they came up with something that was going to rival the PS4 and Xbox One, then why not? I mean, it would be marvellous to see Atari re-enter the hardware market again, but we shall see. Right, number 2 from Kev. Let me just read it while I'm drinking my water. Number 2, do scary games have a different label in the UK? Here in North America they're called survival horror, which always seemed a silly name to me, but I wonder if the genre goes by a different category name over there. Most scary games, Kev, seem to be referred to as survival horror. Now, it's generally it's generally regarded, I should say, that Alone in the Dark on the PC was kind of the first survival horror game. Well, it was certainly sort of one of the early horror games. But it was when Resident Evil came out, it was Capcom themselves that referred to it as survival horror. If you play the very first Resident Evil, they do refer to it as a survival horror. So it was basically Capcom that came up with the name. But it seems to be that any horror type game is pigeonholed as a survival horror. It's the same as a shmup. I don't know, I'm trying to think of other. It's a term. Excuse me. It's basically a term that's now associated with scary games. So yeah, it's definitely called survival horrors in the UK. That sounds like a Sex Pistols song. Survival horror in the UK. Number 3 from Kev. I've been getting back into light gun games on my PS1, which are awesome, and I wonder if you've got any light gun games or have ever done any videos about those type of games before. You know what, Kev? When I still had my CRT TV, that's a mouthful. When I still had that, I had a rake of light gun games for the PS2, PlayStation, and the Dreamcast. Yeah, Dreamcast. And I loved them. I mean, you know, what do you call it? What's it called? Something there, I can't even remember the name. What's the House of the Dead, that's it. House of the Dead's an awesome game. House of the Dead 2's even better. But I only own one CRT TV, and it's a tiny little portable in the loft. So I can't play light gun games. The only light gun games that I can play that are technically not light gun is, what's it called? It's House of the Dead 3, I think it was, and it came out on the Wii. I think you actually did a video of it. In fact, I'm sure it was when I saw your video that made me want to go and play it. But that it's not a light gun game technically, although it does obviously use the sort of the Wii remote type thing. But I used to love playing light gun games, and sadly, because I don't have a CRT TV, I can't play them anymore. But some amazing games, really good. Fourthly, I may have asked you this before, but have you seen the documentary Bedrooms to Billions? It sounds like it'd be right up your street, or up your alley, as Kev says. It's all about the British video game industry to the late 70s to today. I have indeed, Kev. I mean, I actually crowdfunded it. It was the only Kickstarter that I ever actually put money into. I think I ended up pledging 40 quid for it. It is a good film. There's certain things that would change about it. One thing I don't like about it is there is nobody asking any questions. It is just the camera's pointing at the people and they're just talking all the time. But it does give a really good insight into the industry, and it's the best. There's really nothing else out there. I mean, there's various video game films, you know, King of Kong, you know, the famous battle between Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell. But, you know, Bedrooms to Billions really does capture what the industry was like in the early days, and it's definitely worth a watch. If you have never seen it, go and check it out. I think you can get it on DVD for about £5 now, so yeah, it's a great film. And finally, a running question for you. This morning I encountered a couple of coyotes on my way to work, and I wondered, have you ever encountered any wild animals on your runs that make you a little concerned for your safety? I certainly have, Kev. Nothing, unfortunately, quite as exotic as a coyote. There's on the West Highland Way, there's a section that you've got to go through when you leave. It's basically before you get to Crean Larch, and you go through. It's actually a working farm, and sometimes the cows are actually on the track, and it can be quite dangerous because if they've got calves with them, they're obviously very, very, they'll want you. If you go anywhere near the calves, they would probably chase you. So there's been a few times. In fact, I was doing a training run, and when was it? It was January, I think it was. No, it was November last year, and there was a calf and a cow. Right, I had to basically go past it. And I had to literally pass by the cow, you know, with about 6 inches to spare. And I mean, they're probably used to people being up there, but if that cow decided to kick me, it would have been curtains. It really would have been, you know, these are big beasts. But saying that, when I was doing the West Highland Way race last week, there were some goats. There's actually mountain goats, and they were actually down at the loch side. I mean, this one was maybe, I don't know, 5 feet away from me. I actually said hello to it. And I was going to take a picture, but I decided not to bother. But yeah, wild goats. But that's about it. Nothing as exotic as a coyote, unfortunately. So anyway, Kev, listen, thank you very much. Always appreciate the questions. Next one is GTB Films. He's actually my mate, Andy. Excuse me. Right, with Play Blackpool just around the corner, the pre-event announcements indicate, as well as the usual retro gaming, arcade gaming, pinball, modern gaming and cosplay, there will also be sections for VR gaming and even tabletop games. Not to mention sellers of replica swords and weird Japanese food. Do you think these big events are now diversifying too much in an attempt to attract more and more people? What should they draw the line at? Is gaming fudge a step too far? Yeah, at Blackpool, the Play Expo event in Blackpool last year, there was a stall and all it sold was fudge. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm calling him bloody Andy, it's Alan. God, Alan's been in one of my videos. He was in a Main Meister and Chums Talk Pish. I knew when I said Andy, I'm like, that's not right. I'm still tired, honest. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Alan. I mean, I was at the Glasgow event not last weekend, the weekend before, and they had all these stalls, Japanese food. I mean, obviously, that there seems to be a link, and there probably is a link between people who are into retro games or video games are also into manga and sort of Japanesey type stuff. I mean, you've mentioned swords, cosplay. These things are all linked, and so at the end of the day, the play events, they'll be getting money from these vendors, and the vendors obviously know they're going to be getting money, so that's why they're there. Should they be there? Personally, I don't think they should be. I mean, I don't have any interest in cosplay, buying swords, whatever. I mean, some of the stalls that were there last week were just toys. They were like retro toys, Action Man and that kind of stuff. They weren't video games related in the slightest. But yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. But personally, I would rather they weren't there and either put more, video game sellers in, or else put in more machines, or even, excuse me, I was going to say make it a bit more roomy, but they're obviously, they need to, I guess, for the Play Expo event to exist, the organisers need to ensure they've got enough money coming in. So if it means having a stall that sells fudge, then fair enough, but it's certainly not for me. And second question, it's a Steam summer sale again, which is usually a good time to pick up some retro PC games dead cheap. I've bought Portal and Portal 2 for under £2 and Z Exemplar so far. Do you use the Steam sale to pick up any of the PC classics you missed first time round? I've got to say, Alan, I play very, 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 very little on my PC games wise. The only games I really play on my PC are emulators when I'm doing videos. I'll play MAME now and again, but I can't actually remember the last time I played a game on the PC. I mean, I've got a Steam account. I've obviously taken advantage of the humble bumble things where you get like 50 games for 6 pence. So I've got about 100 games in the Steam thing, but I've got so many games to play over so many systems that I simply don't play games in the Steam thing. Stop it, it's just somebody coming in. Right, enough of your bad manners. Honestly, if somebody goes past the window and he starts growling. Yeah, so I really don't play Steam that much. Right, okay, thanks Alan, appreciate the questions, mate. And next up is Tony, my good mate Tony, Retronic Collector. Thanks Tony. With the announcement of the mini SNES console with games, will you be pre-ordering one and buying one? This might come as a bit of a surprise. Yes. One of my pals, Tony, actually pinged me. He sent me he actually posted a link to it. Was it last week? I think it was. And I had a look at it and I thought, that looks good. And then I said to him, look, do me a favour Tony, let me know when the sort of window to pre-order one of these things opens up. And he did that and I managed to get one. I think it was from Nintendo directly. Now, I'm not normally a fan of these things. I mean, I know that the NES Mini it came out for a very, very short period of time, and the thing is, the quantity that Nintendo released was minuscule, which meant that supply was far exceeded by demand, and it meant that most people couldn't get one, which of course now means if you go into eBay, people are selling them for like 100 quid, 200 quid, whatever it is. And the same thing's happened with the NES, not the NES, the SNES Mini. Now, why did I buy one? I bought it because it's got some cracking games in it. I mean, I would say it's worth it just for Super Mario Kart. But you've got Super Mario Kart, you've got Super Mario Land, you've got F-Zero, you've got Star Fox 2, I think it is. You've got Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I think you've got Contra. These are absolutely blinding games, absolutely fantastic. And I do know that, when I buy it, if I decided I wasn't using it, I mean, I've got a SNES with an EverDrive, then I would definitely recoup my money. So yeah, I mean, Ben, T-Rex Space Station, I should say, he put out a video basically sort of saying how he thought they were a bad idea and didn't understand why Nintendo was doing it. I personally think they look really cool. I mean, the SNES and the NES, you can't buy them anymore. They stopped getting produced probably 25 years ago. So this is to appeal to a new market. I mean, retro games is just massive. It really is. It's such a massive, massive thing now that there's a new generation of gamers who've never played an NES before, and they've probably never even seen one. So, it's a clever move on Nintendo's part. But the one thing that does annoy me is, why the hell do they bring out a tiny, tiny amount? Don't understand it, because all they do is, I mean, I've pre-ordered it. I think it comes out, it's out in September, I think it is. I've pre-ordered it, and there's loads of people that want it, and they simply won't be able to buy it. So that makes no sense to me. Why on earth are they selling something that maybe 9 out of 10 people aren't going to be able to buy? It just doesn't compute to me at all. I've no idea. There's obviously some kind of marketing strategy going on with Nintendo doing this, but it just it pisses some people off, and I totally get what Ben means. I mean, why do they deliberately put out very, very few? They obviously knew from the NES demand how popular these things are going to be. So why they do that, I don't know. But anyway, that was Tony's first one. So yeah, I've got one ordered. And actually quite looking forward to getting it. So great stuff. Number 2, favourite 5 sci-fi films and why. Now I've got to say right away, guys, although I'm a geek, this term geek that seems to get applied to anybody that likes video games, I'm not a big science fiction fan. I'm really not. I mean, I love Star Wars. I loved Star Wars because obviously it was an epic film. It really, it just piqued my imagination as a sort of young kid. But as far as sci-fi films go, I've never seen E.T. all the way through. I think I've seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I've never watched Blade Runner. I was never at the X-Files. I wasn't a Star Trek fan. So there's probably lots of films that I've never seen that people would regard as classics. As far as science fiction films go, bloody hell, I'd be struggling to even think of any. My other dog's in his bed chewing the rope. Science fiction fan, well, you know what? I've absolutely got to go for Star Wars. The first Star Wars is an epic film. I don't have to talk about or tell you why, but Star Wars is one of my favourite films. Science fiction, what else? Christ, I'm struggling here with this. That's I was going to say it's terrible, but I'm not a big science fiction fan. Sci-fi, what other science fiction films is there? I love stuff like the Twilight Zone. but that's not really science fiction. I liked some of the modern Star Trek films. So I've never seen. What do I like? I quite enjoyed the Guardian of the Galaxies films. They were good. I saw the second one not that long ago. They were pretty good. One film I quite enjoyed. What was it called again? It's something, no 8mm. Video 8 or something it's called. It was a Steven Spielberg film, and it was basically set in the 80s. You know, one TV series which I really enjoyed was, oh man, what was it called? It was on Netflix. Some Strange Things, I think it was called. That's kind of science fiction-y. But film wise, I'm going to go for Star Wars, Tony. You know what? I can't even think of another 4 science fiction films. I know that's pretty shocking, but I'm really not a fan of sci-fi, so I generally kind of just ignore them. But yeah, number 3, favourite 5 PS2 games. Again, the PS2 was not a console that I ever really got into. I did have one initially, and then I sold it to get an Xbox, and then I picked up one later on. But my favourite game in it, by far and away, and it's one of my favourite video games of all time, definitely one of my top 10 shooters, is Gradius 5 on the PS2. That's an amazing game, absolutely stonking shoot 'em up. It looks HD. I don't quite know how they managed to get it to look as good, but it's an amazing game. I also like Ape Escape. I don't know if you've seen Ape Escape. You've got to run about and try and collect little monkeys. Good fun game. Bloody hell. I'm struggling here. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, never really played that. I'm totally struggling to think of other games. It's terrible, it really is. I really should do a bit of homework when I get questions, but down to time, guys, I don't have the time really, and that's why I have to kind of just try and think. PS2 games, I'm just trying to think. Bloody hell. Listen, I'll come back to that one, Tony, if that's alright. Number 4, have you ever tried VR, and what are your views on it? Yeah, I mean, I bought the Samsung Galaxy VR thing about, when would it be? About a year and a half ago when it came out, and I absolutely raved about it. I mean, I was even phoning my pals, telling them how wonderful it is, and it was that got Bangkokian into VR. He watched my video and he thought, I like the look of that, and he bought one, and then he bought the Hive, or Vive, what I always call it, a Hive. Maybe the Hive's the sequel. He bought the Vive, and then he bought the, what do you call it, the Oculus Rift. So it's thanks to myself that Bangkokian is in his VR. But yeah, VR it's a nice thing. It's, if you've never tried it, you need to try it. I mean, it's super immersive. It gives you a completely different way to play video games. The thing for me that kind of puts me off it is the sort of fuss that you've got to go to actually get it up and running. I mean, I know the PSVR, there's like a multitude of cables, and you've got to put the headset on, and the one that I've got, I mean, although it's kind of cordless free, you've got the phone in it, but it doesn't last long with the battery, so you've got to kind of have like a battery pack in it, and you've got the headphones. It's just too much a faff. I know it's not a faff, but to me it's too much a faff. If I could be watching the TV and I think, or playing a video game, and I think that I want to play this in VR mode, and I just had to press a button and suddenly everything around me jumped into sort of 3D VR, then I would be on it, I'd be all over it. But I think because you still need to put a headset on, and in my experience, it does get quite tiring wearing these headsets. After 20 minutes, half an hour, although it's not tight around the head, it's just having this thing on your face, you get quite sweaty as well. So It's an amazing experience, and it's something that I think every gamer should really try. But will it ever become a mainstream way to play games? Probably not in my lifetime. Certainly not in the next few years. I don't think. Some people might. I mean, Bankokian might argue the case with me, but I think until they make it that there's no fuss involved, you can literally just press a button and away you go. I don't think it's ever really going to take over from somebody sitting on their couch with the gamepad. I mean, look at 3D TV. Sky no longer have 3D TV channels because it died a death, and I think it's probably because you have to wear the sort of the glasses, and people just couldn't be arsed with that. If it involves any modicum of effort, people are too lazy, and I'm one of them, I'm afraid. Play Pro Evolution Soccer is another one of my favourite games in the PlayStation 2. Number 5, with the mention of Kirby and Yoshi at the E3 2017 event on the Nintendo Switch, will you be buying either of them for your Switch console? I'll probably wait and see, Tony. I'll see what they turn out like. I mean, I love my Switch to bits. I'm looking forward to getting the Nintendo. I'm looking forward to getting the Mario game. Is it Mario Horizon or something? I think it's called. I'll be getting that when it comes out. Kirby and Yoshi. I know there was a Kirby game, or was it Yoshi? I can't remember. I think it was Yoshi actually. And it kind of looks like Rule. It looked amazing, but I then read that it was really simple to play, and it was kind of more kind of kiddie based, and they said it was quite easy to complete, so I didn't bother buying that. But I'll see what they turn out like. I mean, obviously games are quite expensive, so you've got to be picky about what you actually buy. So anyway, thanks for your questions, Tony. Always appreciated, mate. And next up is Paul K. Are you planning on picking up a SNES Mini, which has just been announced? And did you get the NES Mini? Well, you've just heard me answer Tony there, Paul. Yes, I've pre-ordered the SNES Mini. Quite looking forward to getting it. The only thing that I've heard about it, which some people are saying is a pain in the arse, and I totally get it, is apparently because it requires wired controllers, which you get with it. I heard that the NES one, and I think probably the same for this one, the cord is not that long. Well, it's probably the same as original NES or SNES. But some people, modern gaming now, people have got big TVs, they want to be able to sit far back on the couch with a wireless controller. So I can understand why the shorter cables might be a pain in the arse, but going by the size of my games room, it's not going to be a big issue. So yeah, looking forward to getting the SNES one. I never did get an NES Mini. I would like to get one because I don't actually own an NES, and I believe it's now been hacked so you can put your other games in it, but I'm not paying 150 quid for it. Something that came out less than a year ago for 65 quid, I'm not paying any more than 65 quid for it. I'll keep watching for it, but I think it's going to be one of these things it's only going to appreciate in value, unfortunately. Also, are you planning on getting a Mega Drive Mini which has HDMI outputs at 720p? I wasn't aware of that, Paul. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to these NES things. I'll see. I mean, I've got my I've got my Mega Drive with the EverDrive cartridge. I wasn't a massive Mega Drive fan. I don't have any real nostalgia as such for one. I mean, it's a great console and I do play it quite a bit. Got some great shooters on it, but I don't have any nostalgia for it so much. So I don't know. I'll see. I'll just see what it looks like. So anyway, thanks Paul for the question, mate. John Yin. Now I always quite like John's questions because they're always slightly odd. Perhaps some future questions with a more philosophical bent. Number 1, if you were to describe what gaming is to the uninitiated, how would you do so? If I was to describe to somebody what gaming is, how would you describe it? I'm presuming they know what a TV is. I would say to them, gaming is like watching TV, but you can interact with it. And with you interacting with what's on the screen determines what events unfold in front of you. That sounds a bit hippie and fluffy. It's basically you're looking at something on a TV screen and you control part of it, and it there's a challenge. There's a challenge in front of you, and you've got to interact with something on the screen to try and get to the end of said challenge. That sounds shite, doesn't it? I would probably just describe it. It depends what we're talking about here. If we're talking about a PlayStation 4, I would describe it as an interactive film, because that is basically what it is. Games look like films nowadays, but you interact with it. If it was a more basic game, I would just say it's a sort of puzzle on a screen, but you can involve yourself. I just don't know who that is. Somebody's staring in at me, thinking, "Oh, there's that guy on YouTube." You can interact, or you can influence what happens through using this thing called a controller, which you use your hands to move. Interesting question, John. Number 2. What does gaming achieve in a person's life? Is it a pure distraction or does it run deeper? What does it achieve? What have I achieved through being a gamer? Now, I know this is just my own personal take on it. I don't think gaming, the actual art of gaming, I don't think has given me any skill of any kind. It's not. I don't look upon gaming as being an achievement. Gaming to me is something that's fun. It's something that I enjoy doing when I'm not working or with my family. I find it relaxing. I really enjoy gaming. It's a hobby for me. It's not something that I would never look back. Well, that's not true. I was going to say I'd never look back and with any sense of achievement by, say, completing Uncharted. I would never go, "Oh, I'm a hero." To me, an achievement is more something maybe a bit more physical, like what I do running. Something that's physical, it's physically challenging. So when you get to the end, you feel $1 million. I don't look upon gaming as an achievement. Saying that, if I managed to get a high score in a classic game, I mean, if I was lucky enough, which is never going to happen, if I was to break the world record in like Defender or something, I would feel pretty chuffed with myself. I don't look upon modern games as achieving anything, but classic games possibly so. But I don't look upon me playing games as me achieving anything. Don't get me wrong, I have made so many friends, and video games has been such a massive part of my life. From all the friends that I've got, I've all kind of pretty much been through gaming, and probably the last few years with running as well. But I've gotten so much from gaming. I've made some true lifetime friends through video games, but the actual art of gaming, I don't look upon it as achievement at all. Not for myself anyway. I know some people may think differently. Number 3, when approaching a tough game, do you attempt to analyse the systems and work out countermeasures, or are you more inclined to cower away, shrug, think, fudge it and load the next game? Personally, I like to see beyond the visuals and work in the systems, looking for weaknesses and flaws, which is a game within itself. There are exceptions to this approach, but simpler arcade-style games are usually transparent after dedicated engagement. I'm probably not that clever, to be honest with you, John. My mate John Studley, who has he's he's had the perfect Pac-Man score. There's only like 5 people in the world that have ever achieved that. I spent quite a bit of time with John down at one of the play events last year, I think it was, and he was telling me all about how Pac-Man thinks. John has played Pac-Man so much that he understands how the code works, understands how the ghosts are going to react. He knows that they patrol the perimeter for a while, then they move inside, then they move back out. So John knows the intricacies and timings and exactly how the games worked. I'm not that clever, unfortunately. It's something you probably should. I mean, a lot of games, especially the early games, there are always patterns that you'll see. There's only so many patterns. I mean, most of these games are probably written in like 5k. You know, they're tiny, tiny bits of code. Stuff like Berserk, if you actually take your time to sort of stop and watch the game getting played, you can see how it reacts. And then you can kind of, you know what's coming, and then you can adjust your gameplay accordingly. But I'm really not that clever when it comes to it. But I think possibly I'm not. There's some people. I've got some friends who are completely anal about games. They want to be able to rinse every last little bit of thing out of it. Whereas I tend just to play a game, and I'll play it so many times, if I get to a point I can't get past it, I'm like, stuff this, and I move on to something else. So I think my lack of patience and lack of gaming skill probably results in me pulling the plug way before I've had my values worth from the game. But anyway, yeah, great questions, John. Keep them coming. Always brilliant stuff. Next one, Panther UK. What are your top 5 Sid tunes? Sid tunes! My number 1 will always be Parallax by Martin Galway. Amazing to get that noise out of the humble Sid. I totally agree. I mean, Martin Galway's probably my favourite Sid composer, but he didn't make my favourite Sid tune. In no particular order, although I would say, yeah, my favourite Sid tune will probably come as no surprise, is Monty on the Run. It is just an absolutely astonishing piece of music. I mean, it's like the Bohemian Rhapsody of Sid tunes. It lasts something, I don't know how long, I think it's about 7 minutes it lasts for, and it never really repeats itself. It's just a phenomenal phenomenal tune, and to hear it getting played with a live band is amazing as well. So Monty on the Run is an astonishing bit of music. The theme tune, title tune I should say, to Whizball is incredible. Just an incredible piece of music, it really is. Commando by Rob Hubbard is another amazing tune. I'm actually going to be doing a video. I'm doing a kind of series of videos on my sort of top 10 Commodore 64 things, like shoot 'em ups, platform games. I've got the platform games one, I'll be putting out next week, and one of them is going to be my sort of top 10 tunes, Commodore 64 tunes. So that was 3, Monty on the Run, Commando, Whizball. There's one which is quite basic, but I love it to bits, and it's the theme tune to, to Confusion. It's a puzzle game. It's a very simple game, but it's nice. And there's one final tune which it's very short. I mean, it probably lasts, I don't know, 30 seconds, and it's the title tune to Flight Path 737, published by Analog. It's a tiny little bit of music, but I remember liking it at the time, and when I hear it now, it just takes me right back to being 17 years old again. It's a lovely bit of music. It doesn't last long at all, but it's an awesome piece of music, so yeah. Right, as you can see, my little couch buddy has moved over there, don't know why. Yeah, so what was I talking about? That was, top Sid tunes, excuse me. Pardon me. Yeah, great question. Thanks for that, mate. And lastly, Mr. Batman. Your thoughts on the CD32, divided in its time as a receptacle for shovelware, now an easy to use home for practically all things Amiga thanks to the wonders of CDR. Your thoughts? I remember seeing the Amiga CD32 when it came out. I had an Amiga and a guy at work got an Amiga CD32, and we arranged to swap for a weekend. And I remember getting this thing home, and I think he had a couple of games, and within about an hour I was bored. I'm like, he's only got 3 games and I've got all these games on the Amiga. So I kind of thought, it's a bit pointless. What is the point of it? And sadly that's what a lot of people thought, and it obviously died a very early death. I mean, it would technically be called a flop when it came to the actual number of units sold. However, about 2 years ago I managed to acquire a CD32, and excuse me, as Bat says there, through the wonders of ISOs you can download all the games, you know, that are out for it. I mean, most of the games were virtually straightforward ports of the Amiga. Some of them had sort of better soundtracks. I mean, I think it was an identical to the Amiga 1200. I don't think it had any extra colours or anything else. So it was basically an Amiga 1200 without the keyboard. So as far as being better than the A1200, absolutely no. You're better off getting an A1200. But it's nice to have. It's quite a collectible thing to have. There's not that many doing the rounds on eBay. I got mine for quite a good price. So yeah, I'm definitely going to hang on to it. But through the wonders of clever people, you can you can actually download an ISO that has got, I think I've got one that's got 300 games in it. It's a single CD, and some clever person has managed to convert all these games to work with the gamepad, which is quite possibly one of the worst controllers I've ever used, although I believe you can use a Mega Drive controller with it, which I'll probably need to do the next time. But on this compilation you've got about 300 Amiga games, and you've got a menu. You can pick sport, whatever you want, shoot 'em ups, and it comes up with the menu and that kind of stuff. It's not the quickest at loading. I think it might have only been a 2-speed CD-ROM drive, but it's you know what, it's great to have all these games at your fingertips. Would I recommend you get a CD32 over an Amiga? Definitely not. I would always go for the Amiga every time because it's got the keyboard and it can do a lot of other things that the CD32 can't do. But as a standalone thing, I would tend to agree that it's not a particularly good thing to have. If you're a collector, if you like to collect kind of old bits of hardware like myself, then it's a great thing to try and get a hold of. Especially the fact that you can get all the games for absolutely free. So yeah, love mines, and it ain't going anywhere. Gaming cut-off points, an era that's too retro to be entertaining. Some won't go as far back as the 2600, others as RX81. Some won't go back as far as the whole 8-bit era. What is your cut-off point, or do you have none? I think because I'm an old fart, but I mean, I've been playing video games since the Atari 2600 came out. I mean, I got my first computer in 1983, so I was there right at the cusp of this whole industry. So really, retro, well, I've never been a big fan of the word retro. 8-bit systems is what I was, brought up to play. It's what I played back in the day. So that is kind of current to me, and anything else is obviously more modern. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I still kind of think of the the Mega Drive has been kind of moderny, because compared to a C64, it is modern. Although the Amiga, not the Amiga, the Mega Drive is what, I don't know, 25 years old now, more than that, something like that. But no, I'll go back, because I was a very, very early adopter. 1983. I would, love to get old systems. I mean, I'm trying to think what the oldest system I've got. It's I've got my Vectrex, I've got a ZX81. I don't have anything like the Commodore PET. One of my mates, he's got 2 Commodore PETs. But no, for me, I don't have a cut-off point. If I could, if somebody offered me the chance to own like a Pong machine, or what do you call it, computer space machine. Not that I've got the space for it, but supposing I had the space, if somebody offered me the chance to own a computer space machine, then I would definitely take it. So I don't have a cut-off point. My cut-off point is more in the future. I'm not interested in, I wouldn't really feature games on the PlayStation 4, anything like that. But yeah, and finally from that, let me just have a little swig of my delicious fat-free water. Excuse me. As you hail from bonny land of Scotland, I feel compelled to ask, what are your thoughts on possibly one of the finest movies of modern times? Definitely one of my favourites. I am, of course, referring to an all-time classic, Gregory's Girl. Brilliant. Well, I've got to say, but I remember I would be about maybe 13 years old when Gregory's Girl came out, and I remember eagerly going to see it with my mate Gavin. And the reason we wanted to see it was because it was pretty much all filmed in a place called Cumbernauld, which is a new town in Scotland. Now, in the late 60s, to try and accommodate to try and create housing, the Scottish government came up with this thing called a new town, and it's just exactly what it says in the tin. They created new towns from nothing. There was Glenrothes, there was Cumbernauld, there was East Kilbride, there was Irvine, and there was Livingston. Now I live in Livingston, so it was quite good to watch this, because Cumbernauld, where it was filmed, is very, very identical to Livingston. But we went to see it, and I think I saw it 3 or 4 times. I mean, I've since watched it, I don't know, I've probably watched it 20 times. It's a cracking film, it's an absolutely brilliant film. I can relate to it in so many levels, because the guys that are in the film, that was me. If they were going to make a biopic of Mainmeister, then Gregory's Girl would probably be it. It's a raw, believable story. I mean, all the people that they picked were all young actors. It's a great story. I've got a slight anecdote. The second one, the sequel, was it Gregory's Two Girls? It is garbage. I was really disappointed to see that. But one of my mates' sisters actually had a part in it, so there you go. But yeah, Gregory's Girl's an iconic film. It's a fantastic film. Any Bill Forsyth film, Local Hero. What was the other one? There was Local Hero. There was, blimey, I can't even remember. Nah, completely escaped me. Anyway, listen, right, that is it. That is all my questions. Thank you very, very much to everybody that took time to answer them. Apologies for not replying to comments this last week. Like I said, I didn't get back from Fort William until Monday afternoon, and I've just been really tired. Obviously, doing the race is kind of taking it out of me. I will get back to making my videos more regular again and answering questions. So thanks very much to that. Just before I go, guys, you may or may not have been aware, I did the race, the 100-mile race, or 96 miles I should say, that I did. I'm raising money it's a children's respite centre here in Livingston. It's literally 5 minutes that way, and it's basically terminally ill children. It's a day centre. The kids can go with the parents, and it gives the parents a bit of a break. and you know, I've raised about £1,000 over the last 3-4 years, and I always go up. I just get a wad. I get the money in an envelope and I hand it over, and they always insist on giving me a wee tour of the hospital, and I always come out almost close to tears, because you see these poor little souls. You know, they may not live, they may not even see 10 years old, but they're as happy as anything, and every penny that I raise, it goes to the kids, just to help can improve their, you know, what time they've got left. So if anybody would like to give any money to my Just Giving, I'll put a wee link to it below. Anything at all, guys, would be absolutely fantastic. I think it's got another 2 weeks to run before the thing finishes, so any support to that, guys, would be absolutely wonderful. So anyway, listen guys, it just remains me to say I hope you have an excellent weekend, and finally, thank you very much for watching.